If you have IBS and you've tried the low FODMAP diet, you probably did the elimination. Almost nobody does the reintroduction. And the reintroduction is where your actual answer lives. Maybe you tried FODMAP and it didn't work. Maybe you're about to start and you want to do it right. Either way, this episode is for you. There's a very good chance the diet isn't the problem. The way it's done is. By the end, I'll show you the 3 phases and why each one matters. I'll also tell you the one mistake I made myself, the one that kept me unnecessarily restricted for months, and how you can avoid it. Quick note before we start. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice. Always consult your doctor or dietitian before changing your diet or treatment plan. Also, if you're in a flare right now, go to episode 3 first. Get through the flare, then come back here. If you haven't stabilized your symptoms yet, episode 4 or 5 first. The investigation is easier when you're not in constant pain. If you have rectal bleeding, unexplained weight loss, persistent vomiting, fever, or symptoms that wake you from sleep, see a doctor before anything else. IBS does not cause those symptoms. Okay, let's get into it. You've probably seen the acronym FODMAP, fermentable carbohydrates that your small intestine absorbs poorly. When they reach your colon, bacteria ferment them. That produces gas. It also draws water into the gut. In a healthy gut, this is unremarkable. But in an IBS gut, the nervous system is already hypersensitive. That gas and those fluid shifts can trigger significant bloating, cramping, and pain across all 3 subtypes. The problem isn't the fermentation. The problem is how your gut responds to it. This is why the low FODMAP diet has roughly a 70% response rate in IBS patients. It's not magic. It removes the specific inputs that are triggering an already sensitized system. And then, crucially, it identifies which specific inputs are actually the problem for you. That second part is the part most people skip. The low FODMAP diet has 3 phases, not 1. 3. Phase 1 is elimination. For 2 to 6 weeks, you remove high FODMAP foods. Onions, garlic, most legumes, several fruits including apples and mangoes, lactose-containing dairy, wheat-based products, among others. The goal is not to find a new permanent diet. The goal is to create a quiet baseline, a period of reduced symptoms from which you can then test foods systematically. For the full food lists, use the Monash University FODMAP app. This is the team that developed FODMAP. The app is regularly updated based on laboratory testing. It also gives you portion size guidance, because many high FODMAP foods are fine in small amounts. They only trigger symptoms at higher doses. Halmos and colleagues in a 2014 study found that 70% of IBS patients reported significant improvement during elimination, reductions in bloating, pain, and bowel symptoms across most subtypes. That is a strong signal. But here's what it actually means. It means food is one of your drivers. It does not tell you which foods. It does not give you a long-term eating plan. That's what phases 2 and 3 are for. Here's where I made my mistake. I felt better in week 2 of elimination, noticeably better. And I thought, this is it. I just can't eat those foods anymore. So I stayed on the elimination diet. For months, I avoided onions, garlic, wheat, apples, dairy, legumes, the whole list. My diet got smaller and smaller. I turned down meals, I stopped eating at other people's houses, and then I finally did the reintroduction. What I thought was lactose intolerance turned out to be something else. The only subgroup that actually triggered my symptoms was fructans, onions, garlic, and wheat. That's it. Months of restriction. For one subgroup, lactose, fine, fructose, fine, polyols, fine, legumes, fine. That is what skipping reintroduction costs you. If you're running this investigation with me, subscribe. New episode every week. Phase 2 is reintroduction, and it's where most people stop. Studies show that only around 50% of people who start the low FODMAP diet complete a proper reintroduction. The rest stay in the elimination. They feel better, they're afraid of going back to old foods, and they stay restricted indefinitely. FODMAPs are not universally harmful. They feed beneficial gut bacteria. They contribute to a diverse microbiome. Long-term low FODMAP eating without reintroduction reduces dietary fiber intake, narrows the microbiome, and can actually increase gut sensitivity over time. The elimination phase was designed as a diagnostic tool, not a permanent lifestyle. And here's the thing most people never find out. The 6 FODMAP subgroups are completely independent of each other. A reaction to one tells you nothing about the others. This is the map you're working with. Fructans, found in wheat, onions, garlic, leeks, and some vegetables. This is the most common IBS trigger in clinical practice. Galacto-oligosaccharides, found in legumes like lentils, chickpeas, and beans. Lactose, found in cow's milk, soft cheeses, and regular yogurt. And here's something worth knowing. Research suggests many people who think they are lactose intolerant actually tolerate moderate amounts just fine. The reintroduction will tell you. Excess fructose, found in honey, apples, mangoes, pears, and high fructose corn syrup. Sorbitol, a polyol found in stone fruits like peaches, plums, and cherries. Also in some artificial sweeteners. And mannitol, a polyol found in mushrooms, cauliflower, and watermelon. If you lump these together, you'll never know which one is causing the problem. Reintroduction tests each subgroup separately. 1 group per week, small dose, medium dose, large dose, then a rest period to let symptoms settle. Then the next group. Write it all down. Don't trust your memory. If you can work with a dietitian during this phase, do it. Professional guidance during reintroduction significantly improves outcomes and reduces unnecessary long-term restriction. If you can only access a dietitian for one part of this process, make it reintroduction. With 6 subgroups to test, the full reintroduction phase takes 6 to 8 weeks. That's not overkill. That's the minimum needed to get a reliable answer. And here's what most people find at the end of it. They can eat most things, 2 or 3 specific triggers, and everything else is fine. That is a radically different outcome from staying on the full elimination diet. Phase 3 is personalization. This is where you build the long-term eating pattern based on what you actually found, not what you're afraid of. Treat your case like a case. You now have data. Use it. What the data usually points people toward is a Mediterranean-style base. Diverse vegetables, fruits, whole grains, fish, olive oil. Your confirmed trigger foods, restricted or portion controlled. Everything else fully returned. This is a diet with real variety and nutritional depth. It's sustainable. It supports your microbiome. And it's built on actual evidence about your gut. For the full protocol, exact test foods, portion sizes, the works, chapters 5 and 6 of the IBS Roadmap have it all. Now, once you start reintroduction, here are the 5 mistakes that derail people. The diet itself works. The execution is where it breaks down. Mistake 1, not maintaining the baseline during reintroduction. You're testing fructans in week 1, but you've also started eating apples again because you missed them. You get symptoms. Was it the fructans or the fructose? You have no idea. The baseline must hold for every meal except the test food. Mistake 2, testing while symptomatic. You're in a stress flare, or your hormones are shifting, or you caught a cold and you test the food anyway. The results are unreliable. Wait until your baseline settles before proceeding. Now here's the one that surprises people most. Mistake 3, conflating gluten with fructans. Wheat contains both gluten, a protein, and fructans, a FODMAP carbohydrate. When people react to wheat bread, they often conclude they're gluten sensitive. They go gluten-free. They feel better. But they feel better because they removed the wheat, fructans, not the gluten. This means you might be avoiding gluten for no reason at all. Gluten-free products are useful during elimination, not because they remove gluten, but because they remove wheat fructans. True non-celiac gluten sensitivity is a separate diagnosis. If you suspect it, raise it with your doctor. But don't assume wheat equals gluten equals your problem. The reintroduction will tell you which it actually is. Mistake 4. Testing too many things at once. One subgroup per testing cycle. Testing 2 subgroups in the same week defeats the entire purpose. Mistake 5. Giving up after one reaction. You react to fructans and conclude the whole diet is too hard, but fructose, lactose, and polyols might all be completely fine for you. A reaction to one subgroup tells you nothing about the others. Keep testing. Now, what if you followed all 3 phases correctly and still have significant symptoms? That is not a failure. It means food triggers are not your primary driver. The investigation continues. The next most likely suspects are the gut-brain loop, Episode 8, and post-infectious damage, Episode 10. Keep going. A program can be changed, but first, you have to know which program is running. IBS is not one thing. It's a label that points to a cause that hasn't been found yet. FODMAP is the first and most powerful investigation tool, the one with the highest reach and the strongest evidence. But it's not the only one. If FODMAP gave you partial improvement, symptoms better, but not gone, that's useful data. Food is one driver, but probably not the only one. Keep the dietary changes that helped. And keep investigating. A quick recap before we close. 3 phases. Elimination, reintroduction, personalization. Don't stop after the first one. Reintroduction is where your answer lives. 6 subgroups. Test it one at a time. Monash app for the food lists. Dietitian for execution support, if you can swing it. Episode 8 is next. The gut-brain loop. There's an intervention with a 70 to 80% improvement rate that most people have never heard of. Not willpower, not positive thinking, a biological mechanism. That's episode 8. You have the map. Now run the investigation. Don't give up. Keep investigating.